Yo, what up? Check it out. Peace. Moorish Lives Matter, baby. Y'all feeling this? First of all, what up? Long time no see. I'm gonna say peace from Black Alchemy, Alchemist, on behalf of G, Black Moon. We checking back in. We're gonna pick the activity back up. Thank you for the subscribers. If you're just checking this out, hit the subscribe button. Give us feedback. First of all, let me say, peace. Islam, Hotep, Alafia, peace to sun, moon, and stars, man, woman, and child, and the universal fam. What up? Been a long time, man, since I've been gone. Took a little hiatus. Been putting nothing up on the channel in a while. Gotta pick the activity back up. What's going on, Black Alchemy family? All is well. All is well over here. I hope all is well with everyone out there. Going on in the world with these times and these tribulations is going on right now. We seem like a country divided. It is what it is. So, I've been doing a lot of studying lately. A lot of studying. When I take my little breaks and y'all don't hear from me, man, I really do be putting work in. I put it in on a grassroots level. So let me say this, first of all. I take this real serious. That's what I do. And I would tell you that I'm accredited through the University of Metaphysics based out of Sedona in Phoenix, right? And the thing is, I have a bachelor's degree with that. So with that, I take the metaphysical teachings, I take the teachings of spirituality, I take them very serious, right? I'm gonna put this out there. I am not the know-all and end-all on anything, right? I'm just a vessel that information and knowledge come through to be presented. I'm humble. And with that, it is what it is. So, yo, I got one I want to talk about. Yo, I'm a big fan of what's that, Lovecraft Country, right? And I ain't gonna spoil it, but it was something that was going on in episode 10. Matter of fact, though, from episode 1 to episode 10, it's been leading up to a major event that was supposed to happen in the season final in episode 10, right? Now, it happened, but it required a sacrifice. And that's all I'm gonna say. For those who might be in the middle or those who might be trying to catch up and haven't seen it yet, I'm not gonna blow it, but a sacrifice did take place, right? So, watching that, man, that episode, I was on fire, man. Yo, I was up all night, man. I love it. I love it. I'm a huge fan, and I hope it come back for a second season, right? But it got me thinking, and I got to turning in my head. The wheels were turning about sacrifice, right? And matter of fact, the law of sacrifice. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. Thank y'all for tuning in. Let me run my mouth as I say. All right, so law of sacrifice. The end got to justify the means. Right? So let me start off by saying, like, and I got my notes, so if y'all see me looking down, this is what's going on. One of the most unpopular least talked about subjects when it comes to law or universal laws, it's going to be the law of sacrifice. And this one right here will be very hard for a materialistic person because it means that you got to give up on something. You got to give something to get something. You got to release something. Materialistic people don't like that. I know that. I got a soft node in Taurus. You know what I'm saying? Which means in the past life, I was caught up on too much material things. So the opposite of that being Scorpio means that I need to get more into the spiritual aspect of life. You know what I'm saying? Learn to let go. Cut the ties and the bonds that will lock you down to material things. And that's what I've been doing on this life's journey. So, we live in a world of opposites where duality and opposition is always at play. It's always a tug of war. Always a pendulum swinging back and forth. Bam, bam, bam. Just what it is. Heads and tails. God, devil. Good, bad. Love, hate. Duality. Polarity. So Matter of fact, let me take that back. Before I say anything, let me say this. All events are governed by law. All events are governed by law. Don't confuse universal laws with man-made rules. Because man-made rules are due to change, but universal laws are locked into place and they do not change. Now, when we talk in universal laws, you might think of the 7 universal laws for the Hermetic teachings, which says we got mentalism, correspondence, cause and effect, gender, vibration, rhythm, and polarity. And there's a lot more universal laws out there at play. Because remember, laws at play with everything. But one of the most popular and one of the ones that people like to talk about most is the law of attraction. We know how that works. I'll do one on that one later. You know what I'm saying? But like I was saying, one of the least talked about laws or universal laws is the law of sacrifice, because it requires you to give up on something. Now, we could talk about that from a physical aspect, and we're going to talk about that from a spiritual aspect. Right? Now, the law of sacrifice says that you can't get something without giving up something else. In other words, the law of sacrifice says that you can't get something for nothing. You must give us something of greater or equal value. This could be money. This could be time. This could be energy. This could be putting a friendship on hold. Even possibly putting a relationship on hold. Blood, sweat, and tears. You know what I'm saying? Think about it as a parent. The sacrifices that we make for our family and our households. And I know it seems at times like our youngins don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like I know it could seem like it's frustrating at times when you feel like people don't recognize or see the sacrifices you're making just to keep a roof overhead, keep water on, lights on, all that. But sacrifices got to be made, and they will be made, because we all making sacrifices, and we've been doing it from day one, and you're going to be doing it till it's time to get out that body to make that transition. That's just a part of the game. You got to pay to play. So we sacrifice time, money, energy. We sacrifice friendships, relationships, blood, sweat, and tears. You know, our dreams, our goals, our desires, they all come with a price. Big Daddy Kane said in the song, I can't remember what song it was, but he said, I worked like a slave to become a master. You know what I'm saying? The law of sacrifice is at play in all and every aspect of our lives. It goes hand in hand with the law of cause and effect that I mentioned earlier, that said that you reap what you sow. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, as parents, husbands, wives, we sacrifice a lot on behalf of our household. You know what I'm saying? We would take a bullet for a loved one. Let me say that. Some of us would take a bullet for a loved one. You know what I'm saying? Some people would even sacrifice a relationship with their own children for the benefit and the acceptance of another. See, it could be a positive aspect and a negative aspect to this, just like everything else in the known universe. You know, for a lot of people, the concept of sacrifice was introduced to them through religion. In the Bible, Abraham was going to sacrifice his son Isaac to God. When you look at it, what's the thing? Easter, the holiday Easter, when it come around, it's all about the resurrection of Christ. But the so-called Jesus Christ was crucified. You know what I'm saying? Nailed to a cross to save mankind from his sins. Sound like a blood sacrifice to me, because y'all turn around and in communion, y'all drink the blood and y'all eat the flesh. That's ritualistic to me. You know what I'm saying? But, okay, ritualistic sacrificing is found in many traditions throughout Africa and throughout the ancient world, where offerings of blood or other things that we call elbows are offered to deities, spirits, whatever you choose to say. You know what I'm saying? But the sacrificing of animals like chickens, pigeons, goats, because blood has a life-giving power within it. It has a life force in it. And that goes back to that communion thing, because when you ritualistically acting out the partaking of the flesh and the drinking of the blood, which is the wine, and the flesh being the cracker, you ritualistically acting out the sacrifice of your Lord and Savior, if that's the religion that you subscribe to. No shots fired. You know what I'm saying? So, from a physical aspect and an energy aspect, let me say that because energy is at the base of everything, right? So, from the physical aspect, to offer blood, because it has a life-giving force within it, and it's rare. You only find this type of force in blood. You know what I'm saying? Like certain rituals, right? As a practitioner, there's certain rituals that I have done where I had to go down in my basement and get busy to get certain deities to grant me their ashe, or get protections, or get cleansings, or removing things off people. See, it's an ebb and a flow with that too, because you could say it's kind of like a payment too. Because remember, the law of sacrifice said you can't get something without giving up something. And it's crazy because like a lot of people, like for real, y'all know this, it ain't hard to go on YouTube and see so much things about the music industry, entertainment industry, and this person right here famous because they made a blood sacrifice, and this person right here sold their soul, and all this that going like that. Thing is, right, I ain't saying it ain't happening. I believe it's happening, right? But the thing is, what's going on in the music industry and entertainment industry is nothing new under the sun. Think about the Aztecs. The Aztecs were sacrificing people. They was pulling out hearts and offering blood to their sun god because they saw it as a means of survival. Because they knew that their sun god was fighting against darkness. So being that they saw that as a means of survival, yo, they was offering people up. And so much blood got spilled, like, yo, it was throwing the balance of the planet off. Ritualistic, to a certain group of Asiatics from Africa came over there and told them, like, nah, man, y'all spilling too much human blood, man. Y'all, do this goat instead. Do this chicken instead. We found a way how to spook things out. Now, I'm not condoning the sacrificing and getting the human blood. Nah, that ain't cool. So much human blood has been spilt on the planet. We don't need another drop of that to hit. And it's being done anyway. Because anytime you got someone get into a confrontation and somebody pull out and somebody pop somebody, right? Or somebody stab somebody, and their blood hit the ground and that person make their transition, i.e. death or die, that's a ritualistic killing. Look what's going on with the police situation. It's ritualistic. Somebody been fending off of it. And it damn sure ain't us. Now, blood ain't the only thing that you go offer. Let me say that. And practitioners out there know that. Pouring water for libations, rum, cigar smoke, candies, other type of alcohols, cakes, pastries, honey. Different deities like different things. You know what I mean? It's just that some would prefer that blood. It's the blood. Why you think in church, man, they be talking about the blood of Jesus or being covered by the blood? When you think about that logically, that sounds satanic. But I ain't trying to get spooky on y'all. For real, because they know it's a life-giving force inside of that blood. You know what I'm saying? Orisha that rock with me, Ogun, from Yoruba land, the Ifa tradition, right? Yo, at one time, yo, I got this book right now, and I can show and prove. In this book I got right now, they were saying how, like, at one time they were doing human sacrifices to him. But it wasn't just like no cold-blooded, just cruel intention murder type thing going on. Like they paraded the guy or woman, whoever's supposed to be sacrificed, they treated him like a king because it was an honor in that death as being sacrificed. So for a whole week or whatever time it is, this person was clean, bathed, fed good, had the time of their life. In return for the blood, for the community, for the people. You know what I'm saying? So this whole thing about sacrifice is that anything that you want, man, you gotta put the work in to get it. Hands down. And go with it. You're gonna give up something. Don't nothing come free. And to even take it to a spiritual level with that sacrifice thing, right? Y'all, think about it. One of the hardest sacrifices that you can make for those who are becoming conscious or gaining the knowledge or becoming to know thyself, the ones who are really trying to cultivate and better themselves spiritually, the hardest sacrifice that you will make is the killing of the human ego, the killing of your very own ego. That's why I like that Spirit Kali, because she cuts the head off the ego. Sacrifices are made on so many different levels. Just like wars are fought on so many levels, sacrifices are made on so many levels. You gotta make that. You know what I'm saying? And that killing of the human ego thing, that's gonna be a fight that you're gonna fight long as your soul is in the physical incarnation of a human body. It's always going to be that fight between the higher and lower self. That's not something that no one will escape. No one is exempt from that battle. And the thing is, when I'm saying ego, killing of the human ego, because I know you really can't get rid of it because you need it. It's about keeping ego in check. And the thing is that you need ego, especially dealing with this physical, mundane reality that we in. You need the human ego for that. You know what I'm saying? You need the five senses because that goes along with that. Ego deals with the brain. You know what I'm saying? We need to smell, we need to taste, we need to hear, we need to see, we need to touch. But that job, that title that you have, that car that you drive, the house that you live in, the person that you see when you're looking in the mirror, that's not the real you. The name that you carry, that's not the real you. You are a spirit manifested into a physical body. That's what you are. You know what I'm saying? That's self-realization 101 right there. You gotta kill the ego or cut the head off the ego. In other words, I'm talking about make the sacrifice of keeping it in check. And that's going to be something that's very hard because we in the matrix down here. You need it to maneuver through the illusion, through the realm of the finite, where things are constantly changing. Ain't nothing infinite down here. We're in the realm of the finite. We're in a mundane reality. Things are always changing. Things are going to always change. The only thing that don't change is change itself. So when it comes to that law of sacrifice, it's very hard. Like I said before, materialistic people have a hard time letting go of material, mundane things. Because I've really been studying my birth chart real heavy lately. And coming from that South Node Taurus, this is the main lesson that I have to give. Because in a past life, I was making it. I had that bag. But guess what? This time around, you don't need that. You need to cultivate yourself spiritually. And that's the path that I'm on. Cut all ties, cut all bounds. You know what I'm saying? I can't even take this body. You can't even take the body with you. Yeah, it's cool to have. It's cool to have nice things. Yo, it's cool to have things that you work for. But it can't define you because that's not who you really are. It's finite and one day it will fade away. You know? Sacrifices got to be made. Because the ends got to justify the means. Now that's just on a spiritual level. But before you can get there, some people can't even deal with the physical aspect of it yet. You know what I'm saying? They getting jammed up, trying to make it happen. Yo, I see people every day, man. They be playing the lottery like crazy, and they spend so much money, and sometimes they hitting, and a lot of times they losing. It seems like they lose more times than they hit. But at one time they hit, when they hit big, they hit big. But the thing is, look at the energy, time, and money that they put into just to hit big. You gotta pay to play. Sugar daddies know that. Tricks know that. Them old heads will tell you. Yo, when I started my job back in 98, right? I remember this old head, man. He was like, yo, he don't even go through trying to run no game. He said he just pulled his wallet out. He said he ain't got time for that. He tried to get at them young girls. He said he just pull his wallet out. He'd rather trick off. And I laughed at it at the time, but I'm like, yo, that's crazy. He said he had to pay to play. You know what I'm saying? Not condoning that. Let me clear that up. I ain't telling nobody out here to be tricking off, and nobody out here to be selling their body. Let me clean that up. I'm using it for a teaching measure, a learning lesson. You know how y'all people act, man. For real. The thing is, though, to get something, you have to give up something in return. How bad do you want it? Sometimes it's an even exchange. Sometimes you're trying to get a greater or equal value out of something. It is what it is, man. You sacrifice a lot for it. You know what I'm saying? We reap what we sow. What you put in is what you get out, but you definitely gonna put in. And that's how I go. And all this right is coming from the fact that I watched that episode 10 of Lovecraft Country, where sacrifice was made. You know what I'm saying? For the better good. Are you willing and ready to make that sacrifice? Will you take that bullet or that knife for a loved one? Would you take on that second and third job to provide for your family and your household? Would you sacrifice that animal to feed a deity or spirit that walks with you? See, spirituality be cool when a lot of people, when it come down to feeding, certain entities and certain systems, it requires blood. You know what I'm saying? It ain't for everybody. I ain't trying to spook nobody out, but it is what it is. Sacrifices take place on so many levels in our daily lives. Like I was saying earlier, in the entertainment industry, so many people would sacrifice their soul to live a certain lifestyle. We see it, they look soulless. You look in their eyes like they're not even there no more. But you gotta pay to play. Not for me though. I do a different type of sacrifice. So you come down to what you value, what you appreciate, what kind of morals you rocking with, what kind of principles you stand on. A man with no principles, a woman with no principles, man, you just lost. You the fool caught in the tarot upside down, man. Yo, what you doing? You gotta have some type of principle. You gotta govern yourself accordingly. It's gonna be made. I just had to get that one off, man, because I was excited. I've been buzzing all week about sacrifice. Sacrifices will be made, and they have to be made. Depending on what type of sacrifice you're making, but to have, you got to give up something. Can't walk around with a full cup. You got to pour from that cup to receive more. That's what it's about. It ain't for the stingy. Don't expect something without giving up something. Real talk. The universe doesn't work like that. So, on that note, I hope that this, me speaking from my heart about this, reach out to people that it need to reach out to, fall on the ears and the hearts of people who might need to hear this, because it's not my words. I'm just the vessel. That's why I gotta make sure I'm okay and I'm right. You know what I'm saying? I will be doing a lot more with Black Alchemy. I got a lot of information. I got a lot of knowledgeable topics. I got a lot to talk about. It's a time thing. It's a sacrifice thing. It's an energy thing. It's a family thing. But, yo, man, get people to subscribe, man. Get people to subscribe. I'm going to put more out. These are not my words. I got a lot of great ideas and concepts that I want to put out there and want to present. But I'm going to have to make that sacrifice of making it happen. So something might have to get cut short. And that's the thing, trying to find a balance. So on that note, I'm going to say peace, love, happiness, and unity amongst all Asiatic people. Thanks for listening. I'm out.